Well, Scout, thank you for coming on the Red Carpet Roundtable podcast.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here and talk with you tonight.
Well, you're very welcome. I want to dig into you started acting when you're age 4, is that correct?
Yeah, pretty young.
Let's start about your journey from there.
Okay. So I did start when I was 4. It's not, so it wasn't like just like very like I stopped and then I started again when I was 11. But when I was 4 years old, I really wanted to become an actress. And I told my mom, I like loved watching Shirley Temple and Annie and like all those classics. And I said I want to be an actress so bad. And she was kind of like, like I don't know, like it's kind of just like crazy, like you say that, but it's like you don't know exactly what comes with that. And so I remember she's like, here's a script, it might be fun if I just like read you the words and you say them back because this is what, big actresses do. And I did that when I was 4 years old and I memorized the whole script to Annie. And she was like, oh my gosh, this 4 year old like memorized the script to Annie. So she was like, okay, she's serious about it. And then she got a casting call for the Goodnight Show. It's on PBS
Hmm.
Sprout. I think it stopped running like a few years ago, but it's a show for like little kids, and I went on that. And the first time I stepped on set, I was so like starstruck. I was like, this is like what being an actress is, and this is so much fun, and like all the cameras and everybody's so sweet. I just loved it so much. And then I stopped for a while, actually. I remember I was kind of bored at the beginning of COVID and I was,
Hmm.
like binge watching my favorite TV shows and I was like, I want to do that. Like I really liked acting when I was younger. Um, and so my mom was like, you have to do it yourself. Like she wasn't going to go out of her way to do it for me. So I made my own email address and I contacted, like local agencies. I made my own headshots. Like I was like, did some like selfies. I got my first commercial about 3 months into doing that in New Hampshire. So I was pretty far away. But it was so much fun. It was kids my age. And yeah, I think ever since then, I've done like a lot of short films, indie feature films. Right now, I'm doing a TV pilot episode. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey. There's like a lot of bumps along the way, as you probably know. Um, but yeah, it's been great. I've met incredible people. So now I'm here.
Wow, what a journey. And so what was for your story, what was the struggle during COVID? Like I know you said you were like taking selfies and making your own video,
Mhm.
but what else were you going through?
I mean, during COVID, I think that I was very, like isolated. So my mom, I didn't have like a phone or anything, so like texting wasn't a big thing. So I ended up getting a phone when I was about 12 years old. But I think I am the type who I hate sitting around and like waiting for things. So I was like, I need to do something. And, watching all those shows during COVID, I was like, it's going to be acting. And I am so grateful that all the auditions now are basically online. Like, because if they weren't online, I don't think that, during COVID I would be able to have done what I did.
Hmm.
Like during COVID you wear masks and you're behind all these screens and stuff. Like, I just don't think it would have worked. So I'm very grateful actually, maybe that I started acting during COVID, that was kind of like where my age lined up.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think it was definitely a struggle, like technical issues and everything like that. But I really do like self-tapes because you can redo them,
Hmm.
start them over and practice so much beforehand, and you don't have that pressure of like three people staring back at you and just like watching you perform your scene, because that's pretty stressful. I've done a few of those. But I'm actually pretty grateful. I mean, not grateful for COVID, but grateful that kind of me wanting to act kind of also aligned with when self-tapes were becoming a big thing. So
Hmm. Hmm.
definitely helped a little bit, the self-tapes.
That's good. I want to dig into now your upcoming film that you're also going to be co-hosting it. What can
Mhm.
you let the audience know? I understand you can't tell much, which is I understand. Like I said, I understand.
Yeah, NDAs, I know, so annoying.
Right. So, what can you tell a little bit about if you're allowed?
Okay, so it's a TV pilot. So I also, I don't like to sit around, like I said earlier. So I started my own production company. About when I was 14 years old. And this is going way back to how it started to form. I wrote a bunch of short films, and one day I was like, you know, I should actually like make one of these short films happen and act in,
Hmm.
like a leading role that I had kind of written for myself. And my dad gave me like a little budget. I raised the money, and I made it happen. It's called The Bike Ride. Um, and that has gotten me pretty far. I'm very grateful that one night I just decided that I was going to make my own short film at 14 years old. Um, and my co-star that I had hired for the bike ride, he is amazing. He's an ex-FBI agent. His name is Brian Grahowski, and he actually, after the bike ride had, premiered and we had done all this stuff in, New York and LA and seeing it everywhere, and it just blew up, which is great. Um, but it was kind of like slow. And I was heading to the Tribeca Festival with my mom in New York. And he had called and he said, I wrote this script, I've been writing it for a few months and I really think that it could be great. Um, and that was St. Michael's Intern, that's what it's called now, but it wasn't called that before. It was a pretty rough draft. He's a great writer. Um, and my mom read it to me because I was driving, and I was like, that is such an amazing script. I
Hmm.
could see that being, like the new Dexter. It's a bit of comedy. It's a bit of a thriller, and it centers around a very sensitive subject, sex trafficking, from Brian's experiences, because he's an ex-FBI agent. So that's what makes it all more interesting, because it's bringing light the things that movies don't always get right, from a real
Hmm.
story. Um, and so I said to Brian, I was like, I want to be a developmental producer, which it just kind of turned into co-producer. And it really just took off. He also doesn't like to wait around, so he sent it maybe 3 months ago, and we're filming in 5 weeks. So it is just like blown through, and it's been great. We've met a lot of amazing people along the way. We got picked up by this production company and yeah, it's pretty fast. I was just memorizing lines before this because there's a lot and we don't have much time. Um, and I'm so excited for it to, hopefully get picked up by a bigger studio, and maybe get turned into a feature. Nothing goes like the way that you want it to. Um,
Right.
so, I don't know what could happen, but I'm very excited to be a part of it.
Wow, that's amazing. So exciting for you.
Mhm.
Really am. I want to dig into what is the most challenging aspect of being a young actress, young teenager actress?
Yeah. Um, the most challenging aspect, probably um, the kind of teen struggles that you have combined with the actor struggles. It's kind of like these two things that kind of are going for you, but then also have like their hardships. I think with teens, it's like a lot of insecurity and, seeing people who are better or, sometimes there's like some like teen girl like meanness and stuff like that. So that plus the rejection of acting, basically sometimes they're not, but casting directors can sometimes seem like they're saying, "Oh, I don't want you," and it's just as a teenager also it aligns with that insecuritiness and it kind of, they work together and that, insecurity is I think the biggest
Hmm.
struggle that goes with being a teen actress in my mind. And I think also being taken seriously can be a big thing, because especially because I'm also a producer and like I'm emailing these companies and saying, "Do you want to donate to our TV pilot?" And emailing everywhere, and they're like, "You're 16 years old. Like I like searched you up or something, and you're pretty young. Like, do you even know what you're talking about?" So a lot of it gets ignored sometimes, but I just keep on going and I try to prove myself as much as I can. Um, so yeah, I think insecurity and being,
Hmm.
taken seriously because art, is just something that comes from anybody, of all, ages and sizes and, nationalities. It's like it just everybody has it, and yeah, so that's probably my
No,
biggest,
no, it's true.
yeah.
It's what do you want to? I'm trying to find the right wording, but it's challenging being in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
from all ages.
Mhm. And then
Because
plus being a teenager.
right, I was going to say that too.
Yeah.
But I want to dig into how do you feel being a teenager film director and a producer?
Mhm. Um, Definitely back to like being taken seriously. It's hard sometimes. I remember for the bike ride, I hired such an incredible crew and cast that they believed in me and they believed in the story and they put their all into it. I don't think they ever overlooked me for, how young I was because I was 14 at the time. I think we filmed it about 2 years ago because I'm 16 now. Um, and they never you know, said like, "Oh, like, are you sure about this, honey?" or anything like that. They were just like, "Hey, Scout, can you check this out?" Like that kind of demeanor that just definitely helped me get through that. So I
Mhm.
think, these incredible people that, are willing to believe in me and, maybe like give a huge budget to a 16-year-old, which can seem scary. I get that totally. But I have just come across so many great people that have helped me become a producer. And yeah, I think the amazing people make me keep on going, because there's a lot
That's
of rejection, even in producing. I think you think of like acting and stuff like that, but we had reached out, me and Brian, the co-writer and producer of St. Michael's Intern, the TV series. We had reached out to maybe like 20 something production companies, and I think probably like four got back.
hmm
So yeah, it just and Brian is so amazing. He's always like, "Oh, like don't get discouraged. Like we don't need them." Or he's very funny. So he's always going to say something, that'll make you feel better. But it's the people that I, have in that journey with me that help me, you know, stay producing and stay acting and all that.
Yeah. And I know it's kind of a weird question, but what do you like the most? Acting or directing?
Yeah, that's like a big question. I love I think I first fell in love with acting because that's kind of like what you see like when you watch TV shows and stuff like
hmm
that. You see the actors and you see like the people in front of this camera. Um and I love embodying a character and putting myself into a character and being on set and I don't know, being in hair and makeup, just like that like feeling, it's very great. I love that. And then I remember it was a short film I did when I was like 13. It was in New York City and the director let me be behind the camera for like a little bit because it wasn't my scene. And I just remember thinking, this is so cool. And like I saw what they were doing. They were like checking off the shot list and there was like a mood board and I was like, what is that? What is that? And I'm always asking like, what is that? Like, why are you doing that? So being behind the camera and kind of seeing everything fall together is also an amazing feeling.
hmm
Um, so it kind of depends. I feel like some days it's like I wake up and I'm like, I wish I could be producing today because I don't feel like, like showing my emotional side right now. Sometimes I'm like, I wish I could be acting and not dealing with like all these emails or, like conflicts and stuff like that. So I don't think I can pick a favorite. But there's definitely like pros and cons to each producing and acting.
Right, that's what I hear from a lot of directors
Yeah.
who are doing both.
Mhm.
There's pros and cons. Some like directing only, some just like acting only.
Yeah.
That's so. I know you're such a young age, but what is the most pivoted moment in your life?
The most pivoting moment in my life. That's a big question. I have to think. Um, hmm. Maybe, it might, back to the bike ride. It might have been, I think, honestly, getting on set of the bike ride. Um, because I mean, acting and producing is just such a big part of my life. I'm doing that after school and in the morning, um, so I think that, yeah, so back to the bike ride, but being on set and seeing all these people that, I had been emailing back and forth with my idea, and they were so, like responding to me and helping me along with this, and seeing them all like there, and they're there for me and to like make my vision come true. And I think that is just what's so powerful. I realized that in the moment, what is so powerful about this industry is all these people that want to make something happen. And everybody is like coming together to do that. And I kind of realized that I can do, like whatever I want, like in the sense where, I don't know the expression, like the limits are endless or, you know what I'm talking about? But
Hmm.
I just realized that I want to do this, I want to
Right.
stay in this industry. And if I want to make a film, I can make a film. There's just people that want to support you. And I think that moment I felt leadership. I felt, very kind of proud in that moment that I had, gotten all these
Hmm.
people together to do this. Um, so I think, yeah, I think being on set of the bike ride and seeing all my hard
Wow.
work coming together and all these
Hmm.
people supporting me and working alongside me was a really great feeling. And that just encouraged me so much to move forward.
That's awesome that you are surrounded with people that love and care and they encourage you. That's
Mhm.
what you need for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
I got to bring this up, but you are very mature for your age.
Thank you. Thank you. I get that sometimes.
You are. And I also can tell the passion, and from
Mhm.
you, from your
Thank you.
voice,
Thank
um,
you.
as a young actress and a young producer, a young director. You have so much potential ahead of
Mhm.
you.
Thank
You really
you.
do. Um, you know, you have, I can see the vision that you're in your eyes and what your brain is telling you. You are a storytelling, right? And you want to tell stories, and
Thank you. That
that
means so much.
that is amazing. I'm being honest. You have so much potential. You really do. And that's what we do, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
As he's an actor or an actress, a director, producer,
Mhm.
right? What we do
Yeah.
is we tell stories,
Mhm.
and I see that from you. You really do have a vision. You have a vision. You have more stories. You have so much potential in you. I can tell. I really do.
Thank you so
So
much.
keep it up. I'm being serious. Keep it up because I am so excited to see what more other future films you're gonna do or TV shows.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep it
I'm
up.
excited too. I'm always like, I wonder where I'm going to be in, 20 years. But thank you so much for that. It means so much.
Hmm. Well, since you brought up the 20, I say messed up, no, but brought up the 20 years,
Mhm.
um, what is your short-term goal
Mhm.
and what is your long-term goal?
All right. My short-term goal, probably, so I graduate high school in 2 years. So I guess that's kind of short-term. I think I do set like a lot of goals. I try to do like manifesting and like writing down very precise things that I want to accomplish in a
Hmm.
certain amount of time. And probably in 2 years for the short term. Um, I definitely want to see the TV pilot, St. Michael's Intern, get picked up by a streaming service. And I hope that Brian can keep those creative rights and, like the writers of the original thing, they can work together. And what I really want for the pilot is for FBI agents and police officers to really feel seen in it because it really does deal with, police mental health and the really dark side of like their everyday job.
Hmm.
And it really shows that. So I would love for that message to get spread. So that's probably like my short-term goal, is see that pilot that I'm co-producing and starring in take off, and get the message out. That's
Hmm.
an amazing message. So I want to see that take off. And then my long-term goal, oh, I have like so many. That's like what I like at like nighttime, like when I'm in bed, like I'm thinking like, oh, like I could do this, but then I could also do this. So probably I I think I want to, spread my art as much as I can. Um,
Hmm.
I think that I like to, think of me as like the most, like influential actress or the most, like these big things because it helps you, keeps you going when you think of yourself accomplishing these great things. Um, I mean, I don't have a specific number, like I want to do 5 feature films and, 2 TV shows, or I don't have like a specific long-term goal. But I think that reach a lot of people with amazing stories and, an amazing performance and give each performance my all. And yeah, I just want to see where it takes me. I
Mhm.
always wish that I had like that like orb that like in movies that like tells you what you're gonna be because I am such like a wondering person. I just want to know. So yeah, I think just reach as many people as I can, honestly, with my performances.
Right, and you can do it. I know you can.
Thank you. Thank
Um,
you. It's
now
people
you
like
know
that
you
that encourage me. That's my thing.
yes.
These amazing people like you that, encourage me to keep on doing what I'm doing.
Well, we all have a vision.
Hmm.
We all want to do a storytelling, and that's goes from, like I said, an actress, an actor, producer, and director.
Hmm.
That's what we tell stories on screens and movie theaters.
Hmm.
And we hope, all of us, that when they leave the movie theater or when they're watching at home on TV, Netflix, etc., that we're impacting or hoping to change one person's mind,
Hmm.
and that's where it starts from, right? To change the community. So that's why I'm saying anything can happen, you
Hmm.
know, and that's what our goal is,
Hmm.
to show impact and show stories to hope to change a full room of theater, or a one person.
Hmm.
You want them to leave the movie theater and it's like, oh wow, that was a powerful one, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
100%. I'm gonna bring this up. So when you're laying in bed at night, does
Hmm.
your brain spin like you can't sleep because you have
Yeah.
constant things that you want to think, and you
Mhm.
have a hard time? I mean, do you have a hard time sleeping?
Yes, I feel like I am like I do like have like a lot of anxiety, about like, oh, like I forgot to send this email, or maybe I can't memorize this whole monologue in time for my class tomorrow, or I do, have that spiraling. Especially because I feel like I do have like a lot on my plate because I nanny. This is kind of out of the acting world from 9 to 4. And then I come home and I do some acting work, memorize some things, and then do some producing, do like a Zoom or two with the writers of the show, a social media manager, and just see what's going on with everything. So it's like a lot of stuff that I'm constantly like thinking about in my head. Um, yeah, but I definitely try to work on it. Like I'm like, okay, like maybe like take a few breaths, and there's like this game that my mom's like, "Oh, it'll make you like not spiral at night." And it's like you think of like a word, and I try to do this. You think of like green or something, and then you do like the G, it's for grass, the R is for like uh raid or something like that, and it's supposed to make you not, spiral, and it really works. It's like this like psychological game. So I do
Interesting.
that at night.
I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
I never told anybody except for me and my mom. We use that, but it helps you like, I don't know. It's like the part of your brain that spirals.
Hmm.
That's also the part of your brain that thinks about that. I don't know, but
That's
pretty cool.
interesting. I didn't know that. You taught me something.
Yeah,
I'm
so
gonna
that's
dig
what
into this if, yeah, you don't mind, but mental health. I'm a mental health advocate, of
I'm
course.
saying here.
Um, and so for you as a young teenager, and a lot of teenagers who will be listening to this as well, and young adults or any ages, but especially for teenagers and kids, um, being in this entertainment industry, and if you're not in the entertainment industry as well, for you, how do you handle your mental health when you're going to school and like you said, you have anxiety, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
With anxiety and other stuff that's going around, and you're focusing on school and acting and all that.
Mhm.
What do you use for yourself to help your mental health?
What do I use? I mean, I think that I can always get better at it. But yes, I do have anxiety. I try to manage it a lot of the times, but sometimes I let myself, if I'm, feeling overwhelmed with school and acting, I do take breaks from acting, and, I might send an email out and just say, oh, like I'm out of, I'm not going to be replying for like a few days or something. My mom is one of like my biggest supporters, and she is always, trying to check in and make sure I'm doing okay, which is so amazing. I love her so much. Um, and I think that I have a few ways to manage it. Sometimes I'm like, Mom, I had like the worst day. I'm feeling horrible. And like our like secret thing is we go to like a gas station and get like a bunch of snacks and like sodas and then watch like our favorite movie together. And we just do cute stuff like that. And so that helps sometimes just to kind of, not be thinking about that and get distracted with like your favorite things. Um, and then I do a lot of breathing if it's like in the moment anxiety. So before an audition or before, a big callback or something, I do like square breathing. Have you heard of square breathing?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I'm teaching you like little like things that I do, but like so it's like you breathe in and then you hold it and then you breathe out. Like it's like a square and then you breathe in and you hold it, breathe out, hold it. And you do like a square. And so like if I'm ever, in the waiting room for a huge callback or if I'm gonna like meet, a famous actor or something like that, I feel like if somebody's like watching me, they'll see me like doing like a square breathing because that helps like calm my nerves a
Hmm.
lot. So that's like another coping mechanism that I have. But I'm always
Wow.
trying new things,
Amazing.
because I do get nervous, and being especially like a teenage girl is that's already a struggle itself. So doing all these events and stuff like that doesn't help. So, but I love it. So I just learned to cope with the anxiety. There's a lot of great strategies out there, and you just have to find what works for you.
Wow. Thank you. That's amazing. So, we'll go into this real quick. What is your favorite film that you recommend? Or have you seen any movie that's out right now that you would recommend?
Okay, so I'm a big movie theater girl. I try to go like at least once a month. I last saw Megan 2.0 and I loved it. I was definitely not not that I underestimated it, but I wasn't expecting to, get like this like kind of like thriller and all these like plot twists. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Yes, I loved it so much. I was not expecting that. And it was so funny. The whole theater bursted into like laughter when she started singing because it was hilarious. I really recommend that. Um I'm really excited to see Weapons because my little cousin is in that. His name's Carrie Christopher. He's a little child actor. And he is so cute and he's in a bunch of amazing things like Young Sheldon, 911, and all Days of Our Lives and all these great things. So I love supporting him. So if anybody's watching Weapons, I think it's out August 8th, so I'm gonna go see that. But my favorite film of all time, maybe The Sound of Music. I'm gonna
Okay.
have to go kind of classic. I don't know, it's very comforting. And I love the songs and like the vibe. So probably Sound of Music.
Wow. Weapons. I need to check that movie out.
Yeah. It looks kind of very, very creepy. It's like a bunch of kids go missing out of a neighborhood. That's what I picked up from the trailer. And they're very creepy. That's what I have seen.
Very
So yeah,
creepy.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely need to check that. I will check it. It's coming out next month. Is that correct?
I think August 8th it's in
Oh,
theaters.
okay, August the 8th.
Mhm.
Okay. So, do you have any siblings?
No, I'm an only child.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're the
Well, I
only
feel like
child.
people always have like different reactions when I say that. But yeah, I'm just me.
Wow. How did do you wish you have another sibling?
I think when I was little, I definitely did because, I mean, I would just be bored, playing by myself, which totally makes sense. But I think now it's kind of nice because, I don't have a lot of my friends complain they're going to like their younger siblings' soccer games or their older sisters like yelling at them for taking our clothes or something like that. So sometimes I'm, fine with, being alone and being able to like do whatever I want, and um yeah, but I think that when I was little, I definitely got bored playing by myself. So I definitely wanted a sibling then, but now I'm pretty chill being only
Right.
child.
That's amazing. Now, what's your dream genre TV or movie you want to make or co-host in?
Okay. Hmm. I definitely think thriller, like psychological. Some of my favorite movies are ones that really make you think and have huge plot twists, like, like murder mysteries, and stuff like that. I also like the comedy kind of ones, like, like Knives Out. I love murder mystery. Have you seen that with like Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston?
Yes.
Um, so possibly like a murder mystery crime. That is like a
Okay.
very like niche kind of group, but probably one of those. I just think they're so fun.
Wow. So is there any famous actor you met?
A few months ago I met Dylan O'Brien. You know him from like
Yes.
the Maze Runners. Yeah. And that was crazy for me. I told all my friends about it. I was like, I'm going to Tribeca because the bike ride was a part of Tribeca and we got, like they give out free invites and we were around New York City at the time. And I went and I had sat next to James Sweeney, who is an amazing director. I also got to meet him also. He wrote, I think, produced and starred in kind of like what I do. I, write, produce, and star in my own films. It's called Twinless. It's an amazing film, very funny, with Dylan O'Brien and James Sweeney. And I sat next to James Sweeney's like family that had come to watch this movie in New York City to support him. And I had like made friends with them. I didn't realize who they were. And then at the end of the film, they're like, "Oh, like you should come down to like the family only meet and greet
Oh,
area."
wow.
And I'm like, "Oh my goodness." Because they're like, "Yeah, you act and stuff and produce. You would love to meet our son or our, nephew, James Sweeney." And I was like, yeah, sure. Like I would love to. I was like, oh, I was so starstruck. And so I went down with his family to go meet them and I got to chat with them for a little bit. And I was just like, I was kind of embarrassed because I think I sounded stupid because I was just so like my mouth, like my jaw was dropped. I was like, oh my gosh. So I think I asked a few stupid questions. But that was my most recent celebrity kind of encounter. But it was very
Amazing.
good. They were both very sweet. So.
That's awesome to hear. That's awesome. What is your why? What's your why? Why are you doing this?
Yeah, I've gotten that question a lot. I feel like it always changes. It's such a big question because I feel like I have like a few whys. I think my biggest why I do this and stay, in this industry and are always pushing to be better is to reach people with my performance and like you said earlier, make somebody feel something. And if it's a movie theater, if it's like tens of thousands of people watching, if one person can say, "Oh, maybe such and such," or "this made me think about something," or even making people cry and making people laugh. And that is just what I love so much about acting. And I think what helps, like what pushes me to do that is meeting these people, that help me keep going and say that I made them feel something. Or, like they say, like, "Oh, this film that you made looks really interesting. I want to go watch it." Making people be entertained. It's the entertainment industry. So I think my why is, helping people and making them, even if crying about like a sad movie that I'm in might make them sad, I think that it's just making people feel something. It's probably my why. Yeah.
Wow. What is the most best advice you ever heard or received from?
Hmm. The best advice I've ever heard or received. Um, Sorry, I have to think. I have a few. Um, Probably the best quote that I can think of off the top of my head, and it might not make sense when I say it. It was my middle school principal.
Hmm.
She said, like at like the graduation ceremony, and my mom always says it now, is just show up. That's it, just show up. And I love that because I have struggled with anxiety, like I said, and I just got nervous before things. Like auditions, I would say in the car ride, I would say, "Mom, I don't want to go anymore." Even though if I had been working so hard on memorizing the script and making the character my own, I would just get so nervous before things and maybe not want to go to them. Or I would be nervous to email, a casting director and say, like, "Hey, like I auditioned for this. What do you think?" I was just very nervous and hearing just like show up and the worst that they can say is no, you know? And in this industry, there's so many no's.
Hmm.
I think that every time that you show up, it's a little step closer. So if you don't feel like, filming an audition tape at, like 12 p.m. because it's like due like the next day or something, it's kind of like just do it, like the Nike
Hmm.
slogan, I feel like. But it just helps so much, just do it and maybe you'll be like a bit tired in the morning, or maybe you're like a bit annoyed and it's a really bad networking event or something like that,
Yeah.
But like the worst that can happen is nothing. But if you don't show up, I think that that's even worse, not even trying. So just show up. I think that's my
That's a
quote
good
that
quote.
I've
That's a
got
good quote from your
far.
musical teacher.
Hmm.
I like that. I'm so excited for you, and I look forward for your projects to come out.
Thank you.
I really am. And like I said, you have so much potential in you, and as a young actress and a film director, and that it's going to, this is the beginning of your journey,
Hmm. Yeah, totally.
right? It's
Yeah.
amazing. And, as being do you, for yourself, how does it feel like, getting all this recognition?
Yeah, it definitely feels like a lot. I'm kind of one to kind of like not underestimate myself, but kind of like downplay like a lot of it, like I could be like, "Oh my goodness, like I just booked this huge thing," but I'll get sad if like I didn't book something after that. So I try not to like let it get to my head or anything like that. So it seems like a lot sometimes if I like
Hmm.
sit back and I'm like, wow, like all this, like I've done like such and such and such and such and met all these incredible people and all this stuff, but I try to kind of focus on what I'm doing, what I'm gonna make next, the art that I'm, gonna produce next or film and star in next. So I try to ignore the big stuff that I've done and ignore sometimes like the glitz and glamour can kind of also get to your head, like red carpet premieres and stuff. But I always try to keep my eye on, making people feel something with my art. So
Very true.
I try to kind of ignore all like the big stuff and focus on what I'm doing, the task at hand.
Hmm. Very true. Good. That's very good to impact the community and change people. So, what do you do for fun when you're not doing anything?
I love hanging out with my friends. I have some amazing friends. I play tennis a lot, and school is coming up, so I'm practicing for the tryouts, for tennis tryouts. I want to make varsity this year. So lots of tennis. I love hanging out with my friends. Um, in the summer, we go to like the pool a lot. This summer, I'm nannying, and I'm also doing a pre-college class, a pre-law class. I'm actually pretty interested in law, and I feel like a lot of times parents are always like, well, acting isn't very reliable. So I always will have law because I love doing mock trial, which is kind of just like being a pretend lawyer. And you actually go to like a real courthouse, which is pretty cool. And, you do all like the lawyer stuff. I always feel like Elle Woods kind of when I'm up on stand. Um, so yeah, I do like a lot of stuff like that. And I'm going into junior year, so I'm trying to do SAT prep, not very fun. But I do focus a lot on school also because my mom's first rule when I started acting was I have to keep my grades good or she's not gonna, because I don't have my license yet, or she's not gonna drive me to auditions or to set if my grades aren't good. So that was like our rule. So I do have to keep my grades up. So that also takes up a lot of time. But
Ooh, that's hard.
yeah. But I wouldn't say I'm like a nerd, but I do enjoy school. I get
That's good.
excited to learn and stuff like that.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You've been so amazing and sweet.
Well, thank you for reaching out, of
Mhm.
course. And I definitely would love to have you back on in the future again
I would love
soon.
to be back on. Yeah.
Yes, we'll definitely, definitely stay in touch. And like I said, so much potential in you.
Thank you.
You really have so much potential. As a young film director, we or you, and I say both, but
Mhm.
we're gonna
Yeah.
change the community, right?
Yes.
And
Mhm.
you are gonna make so many great films, and this is the beginning stages, I call it for myself, in my opinion
Mhm.
about you. I'm
Yeah.
being honest.
Mhm.
And the beginning stages of a young director, a young actress.
Mhm.
and you hear stories from other directors and actresses out there who are became big when they started at a young age as well. So,
Mhm.
like I said, don't give up. Keep going. Keep the courage and keep that passion. Because I'm so proud of you, and all the great things you're doing. It's
Thank
amazing.
you so much. Yeah, this has been so incredible. I would love to come back, maybe
Yes.
update you on how the TV pilot's going because you never know. So I'll,
Yes, please.
talk about
I definitely want to
anything.
have you back on with a TV
Yeah,
pilot. So please message me. When is it coming
gotcha.
out? I don't think we talked about that.
Oh, you know how editing is. I don't
Yes.
know. Once we have the footage, it's going to go to hopefully an incredible editor, and then they can give the timeline. But I
Okay.
do on my page, St. Michael's Intern Instagram page is there. So anybody watching, go follow St. Michael's Intern Instagram page so you can stay updated on, when it's going to come out and how it's doing.
Yes. I will definitely stay in touch and I'd love to have you when it's all out.
Yep,
So
I would
please
love to
keep
come
me
back.
updated. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is really amazing. Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, have a good night.
Bye-bye.